Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B Live, the Money Man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddie Cool. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of your favorite sports podcast, the Sports Bros Podcast. We are at episode number 114. Yes, 114 strong. Yeah, that's a whole lot going on, man. Some people have been like, man, y'all done that many episodes? Yeah, we've done that many episodes of the Sports Bros Podcast. I go by the name of Eddie Cool, the HOC up in this thing. And of course, you know I can't do this by myself. I have two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the Almighty B Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Man, that never, ever, ever gets old. I almost slipped up at the very beginning. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to start off the show. I'm not going to do it. What I am going to do is I'm going to talk trash as normally as I do when it comes to the other guy. He's finally off the mend. He's recovered after being verbally eviscerated the past couple of weeks when it comes to this college football thing. But it's okay. We're not going to do it this week. We're not going to do it this week because I think the listeners, they have their stance. We're just going to roll with it. NCAA, they still just need to do better, period. But yeah, it is what it is. And go ahead, Eddie Cool, you can go ahead and talk about the affirmative action part of this podcast, the other guy. All right.
Wow. And with that being said, we got the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, the one, the only, the Money Man, Scottie D.
Ooh, baby, it's a wild world. And the word for the day is tokenism. That's right. Affirmative action. The token guy is here. Here I am, ready to roll. And I do want to apologize to Be Live because I know I was pretty tough on you last week. And you are my bro, and I care about you, and I feel bad. I had trouble sleeping this week knowing that I had that I had embarrassed you so much last week with the college football thing. So I'll go easy on you this week.
We're just gonna hope that Scottie D's Wi-Fi holds up this week. So
yeah, really. I hope so.
But you know what? Honestly,
maybe you ought to send up a GoFundMe for the Sports Bros so I can get better equipment here, so we come at you a little bit better.
I look at it this way: on that 4-letter network, have you seen how many times Kendrick Perkins Wi-Fi messes with him? So shoot.
Yeah, I did see that before. Yeah,
yeah. The 4-letter network can't get it together, and we all right.
Yeah, I was watching a clip from the Dan Patrick show, and everybody's having issues because I think the usage of the internet is higher now more than ever. Like you couldn't get people to get on the internet. Now you can't get them to get their asses off the internet. So at this point in time,
before COVID, they would say you would have more people that would go visit studios and do in-studio interviews. Now they're like, nah, we Zoomed it last year. We're going to do it again that way. So that's probably why.
But yeah, getting you here ain't in the budget. So what we're going to do is going to have this Zoom interview, all right? All right, fellas, let's go ahead and hop into some good old sports talk, and we're going to lead off on the top of the order with the NBA playoffs. It is fast. It is exciting. It is exhilarating. Yes, it is. All right, over in the West, we got the Suns with a 3-1 lead over the Clippers. And is there a game Monday night because we record Tuesday? Is there a game tonight? Or
Yep. It's game 5 between the Suns and the Clippers tonight.
Yep, and hopefully the Clippers can go ahead and put this baby to bed and make their trip to the NBA Finals for the first time in forever.
Other way around. The Suns are up 3-1. The Suns could put it away and send the Clippers home packing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I promise this is not my first time doing a podcast. I just get excited and the words kind of just run together. And guess what? We're going to keep all that in there for your listening and viewing pleasure. Wave to them real fast, fellas. All right, we're going to try this again. The Suns look to put this puppy to bed tonight as they have a 3-1 lead over the LA Clippers. And the Bucks, they won one last night, and they lead the series 2-1 against the Atlanta Hawks. All right, so B-Lab, what's your thoughts and takeaways from the conference finals in the Sun series and in the series with the Bucks and the Hawks?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. The Suns Clippers series, that's over with. It's done. Suns are going to take it. They're going to end it in 5. I just don't see playoff P is not a thing. It just really isn't a thing. And the reason why I say that more than anything, clutch on top of clutch, he just continues to drop the ball. And maybe it's just the fundamentalist in me, but I think the easiest part about basketball, it can be the most nerve-wracking, but I still think of as the easiest. It's called free for a reason, is free throws. Paul George, you're a career 85% free throw percentage shooter. You choose now. You choose now to miss and miss and miss. This series could easily be 3-1 Clippers, and that's without Kawhi Leonard. If Pandemic P somehow made free throws. Also on top of that game, the Clippers had 27, I'm going to just go ahead and say 50-11 chances to take the lead. They were down by 1 for the majority of the fourth quarter and could not take the lead. And just it was something to see. But I'm also going to switch over to the Eastern Conference, and I'm gonna say this: Nate McMillan for the Atlanta Hawks, coach of that. I'm gonna go ahead and mention him first because I've never heard a coach's name mentioned that many times in one setting. Nate McMillan this, Nate McMillan that. He's coach of the year. He's done this, even though Thibodeau won. A lot of people still think that Nate McMillan should have been up there in the running and should have won for the outstanding job he's done with the Hawks. Because I could guarantee you, nobody had the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Not one person. Not a single solitary person had them in the finals. But he made one of the biggest gaffes in coaching history. Trae Young got hurt, limped off, went to the locker room, got him a shot or something like that. When he came back, he clearly was still not 100%. And freaking what was it? What was my boy name?
Oh, Williams.
Lou Williams with them lemon pepper wings. Just to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, I did just come back from the ATL. I did ride right past Magic City. I almost wanted to get some wings. I swear to God, I wanted to so bad, but it was really late at night, and 5 o'clock in the morning around Magic City in Atlanta is very sketchy. So I took myself to the house. I got to the rich part of Atlanta, and with my cousin. Shout out my cousin Charles. Very nice house. But yeah, Lou Will was hot. They were up by 5. Lou Will was doing everything in his power to lead the Atlanta Hawks while Trae Young was hurt. Trae Young comes back. They put Lou Will back on the bench, opt to go with Trae Young for the rest of the game, and you could clearly see this man was not 100%. He had no lift when he was trying to jump. His speed was not as much. He tried to push through it, but every single time you saw that he was hurting. He's already a liability on defense. He was really trying to stay away from the ball for whatever reason. He was not effective. And you watch as their 5-point lead just disappeared upon their very eyes. And I'm gonna say also to my cousin Charles, don't. We talked about it in chat, whatever. Maybe we shouldn't disrespect Chris Middleton. Maybe not, because as soon as my cousin said that Chris Middleton did not deserve $190 million, which still may be up in the air. As soon as he said that, though, Chris Middleton said, hey, hold my beer. Watch this. And went off. He took over that game in a way that's unbeknown. Like, he couldn't miss. And he's like, nope. We're going to win this game. This is our opportunity. This is our time. 20 points in the fourth quarter. I think the Clippers are going to win in 5. I think not the Clippers, but the Bucks are going to win in 5. And they're clearly the more talented team, but that's my opinion. What say you? What say you, Scotty D? What you got? What you got for me?
I think the Bucks are winning from here on in. I think the Hawks have won their final game of the season, and I think that would be the case even if Trae Young was in there. Without him, I mean, even if he plays, he doesn't have, like you said, the burst and the speed. What a freak injury too! He stepped on the referee's foot.
Wow.
That's just something you just never see. The referee was out of bounds. It wasn't his fault. It was just the angle that Trae Young took when he made the turn, and he just I hate that it happened. I really do. Because I liked watching Trae Young's kind of sort of coming out party this year. I mean, he's elevated himself more in these playoffs than he did at all previous to this point in his career. But I just don't think at this point that Atlanta has enough to match up with the firepower of the Bucks. And I say that because I didn't see the firepower in the Bucks early. I felt like they grinded through the early parts of this of the playoffs, but Middleton is finding his stride. Obviously, he took over the game the other night that put them up and stole home court back for them. And Giannis needed that because Giannis has been out there working. Giannis is working hard. I mean, he's grinding. He's getting to the line, and even though he's not a good free throw shooter, he's still going to the rim. And it hasn't cost him his aggressiveness going to the hole. But he needs somebody else. He can't just keep doing that. And there were times in this playoffs where it seemed like he was the only guy out there that Drew Holiday offensively would disappear and Middleton would disappear. But those guys are coming through for him now. And I just think that if they're in a close game, that there's no answer for Giannis if he decides, I'm just going to put my head down and go. If you just can't stop the guy. You can foul him and hope that he misses. He's been making pretty much like about 50%, I think, during the playoffs. But he's too big and strong, and and I just don't think Atlanta can match up with him defensively. And I think also it's over in the other side too. I think Phoenix, like B-Live said, I think they're going in. It's not so much surprising that Milwaukee was in because like I said, we picked them. Most of us, I think all three of us may even pick them prior to last season before the pandemic hit. We thought that it was their turn. And then, Philly kind of established themselves during the regular season, but it's not altogether surprising. Phoenix is definitely a surprise because I think they're probably a year early. I think seeing the Clippers and the Nets would have been a foreseeable prediction for a lot of people, but nobody was predicting Phoenix and Atlanta. I heard somebody say on a radio show the other day, a guy called and said, wouldn't that be like the most unexpected finals we've had probably ever? I mean, If you think about it, guys, going back to like our childhood when it was Lakers Celtics every year, throwing a little bit of 76ers and Rockets, then it transitioned to the Pistons and the Bad Boys and transitioned to the Bulls. It always seems like there's like a transition where you kind of get the feeling the next team that's coming up. And this year, neither of these teams are teams that we were expecting. Like I said, maybe to a certain extent the Bucks, but certainly the Nets had our attention, and the 76ers being the 1 seed had our attention. And the Bucks were sort of an afterthought. But Phoenix is early, I think. It seems like Phoenix is early, and the acquisition of Chris Paul definitely is helping to cement them as a legitimate title contender. I mean, they're one win from getting to the finals, and then winning a series makes them the champion. And I tell you, they're exciting to watch. They're a fun team to watch. They really are.
Yep, the Suns are an exciting team to watch. I mean, you finally got DeAndre Ayton looking like a top 3 draft pick. Finally, it took a while, but it finally happened. And you got Devin Booker, broken nose and all, mask on, mask off, as B-Live said. He went ahead. Yep, he went ahead and did his thing, and it's just. And
how about the coaching too? Because what a play they had set up with 0.8 of a second down to win a game. Now again, Paul George could have iced that and made that play irrelevant, but. There it was on the table. You still like your chances to win up with 0.8 of a second. And they pulled the old, I'm going to shoot it, but not really shoot it, out of bounds play. Yeah. And Ayton made a play. And I forget who it was that threw the ball in and didn't get enough credit for making the perfect pass because Ayton really just, with his size, went up and tapped it down in there.
That was beautiful. That was Jameson Crowder, if I'm not mistaken.
Crowder's the one that threw it in.
Yeah.
A great play. All the way around, well designed, well executed, and then and then Paul George again in the game, the most recent game. I don't know what the heck game it was, but again he goes to the free throw line with the plan to make the first and miss the second, and if he does that, they have a chance because when he missed the second, he executed that perfectly. He executed the miss. Great. They got the ball back. Then they go Boogie Cousins to the line. If he makes 2, they tie the game. But he didn't know you had to hit the rim by throwing a brick off the backboard. And so there went another squandered opportunity. I mean, he makes the first and tries to miss the second and just flings it off the backboard. Do you think he did that on purpose, or do you think that he was trying to hit the rim and just did a bad job of it?
Boogie Cousins has been a liability.
Yeah.
He's played 2.2 minutes a game.
But do you think that he really didn't know that rule, or do you think he just made a bad attempt? I mean, because it looked to me like he was just throwing the ball off the backboard trying to get it.
He didn't know. He didn't know. he didn't know.
Wow.
And that's a shame before the law. But here's the thing. He's a liability because also what a lot of people are not mentioning, he was the person that was guarding that inbound pass with Jameson Crowder. Like, and anybody that knows anything about basketball, when it comes to that amount of time left, what is the one thing you guard against?
A lob.
A lob towards the goal.
The goal, yeah.
He's over here too afraid of freaking Devin Booker hitting a 3-pointer with 0.8 seconds ago that he's guarding the 3-point line, and he literally just allows it. And then on top of that poor attempt of missing that free throw was like, oh my Lord. I'm like, bro. Like, it was to the point where I forgot he was on the team because they haven't used him at all. And then for whatever reason he's in that game at that point in time, he should know better. But at this point in time, Boogie Cousins
penalty box.
Better. Do better. Yeah, all of the above. Any hashtag that we got. All of them.
They all apply to you. Yeah, it's just so from the looks of it, fellas, we all three can agree in unison. We got a Suns Bucks NBA Finals, correct?
I think so. I would be shocked if either the Clippers or Hawks came back. And I know both of them have been down in the previous series this year, but with no Kawhi and with a hurt Trae Young, those teams ain't coming back.
No, they are not coming back. And speaking of moving on forward into the playoffs, let's take a trip to the NHL. The Stanley Cup playoffs. And guess what? The Stanley Cup Finals, it is set. We have 2 teams. We have the Montreal Canadiens, Les Habitants des Canadiens, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the Lightning are looking to win back-to-back cups for the first time in franchise history. And the Montreal Canadiens, they are looking to become the first winner of the Stanley Cup from the country of Canada since 1993 when they last did it. And also they're the first Canadian team to reach the Stanley Cup Finals since the 2011 Vancouver Canucks. Scottie D, your forte is hockey. What you think about this Stanley Cup Finals?
No, it's not really my forte. I don't think, but
your knowledge in the product, your product knowledge.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Game 7 between the Islanders and Lightning, and the Islanders were not known this year as a high scoring team, but the Lightning they won 1-0. I mean, they just stellar goaltending there, and the Islanders came to town with a lot of momentum, having won Game 6 in overtime previously. Tampa Bay is a defending champion for a reason. They seem to be the deepest, most talented. And again, I think like we were saying in the NBA, I think Montreal is early. I think that's a good young team. I wasn't expecting them to be there. I thought Vegas was better. I thought the Avalanche were better. And here Montreal is, and they have Carey Price is their good young goaltender. And so when you have good goaltending this time of year, anything can happen. But we talked about this a while ago too. I don't think Montreal is going to have full capacity fans in the stands. I think they're only allowed like a couple thousand. Yep. Whereas in Tampa, Florida throughout the pandemic back in New Year's Eve, there's been no pandemic in Florida.
Yeah, they were like, pandemic what? Pandemic who?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, so they're going to be packing the stands, going crazy in Tampa. And not that has a whole lot to do, but this time of year you do feed off the fans' energy at home in the postseason. So I do like Tampa to repeat. I mean, like I said, I don't have a depth of knowledge of these teams, but I do think that Tampa, from what I have seen, they're the best team in the league for the 3rd year in a row. And remember, 2 years ago they got ousted in the first round, and they've had a chip on their shoulder ever since and been kind of unstoppable since. So I like Tampa. We'll call it 5 games. What do you think, B Live?
Well, this is what I think. I think that we have the money man Scotty D on this show for a reason. I mentioned affirmative action before, like hockey, golf. I understand he's not a NASCAR, but there's a reason why we have him on this show, because we want to have a little balance. And for him to come up short when it comes to hockey is this. I'm kidding. This is a joke, people. This is jokes. This is comedy.
Tokenism. That's why I'm here.
Funny ha-ha, ladies and gentlemen. Funny ha-ha.
Google Jalen Rose tokenism. You'll know what I'm talking about. Tokenism.
Man, rough.
Yikes.
But yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with Scotty. A lot of people fail to realize that coming into the postseason, the Canadiens had the worst record of all playoff teams. And for them, the unprecedented run that they had to make
it. They were the eight. No, they had the division realignment thing this year. That's right. They didn't seed 1 through 8. That's right. Okay.
They didn't seed 1 through 8, but maybe
they were fourth in their division, though. I think you're right.
They were fourth in their division. I believe they were 8th in their conference. I think maybe Nashville, the Predators, had a worse record, so they may have been 15th or 16th out of 16 teams. And for them,
you're right. The point differential coming in was very high, like very like a 20 point differential somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, that was exactly the point that I was alluding to. For the Canadians to make it this far, they're playing with house money, even though it is Lord Stanley's Cup and everything is on the line, and they're going to play their hearts out. They're playing with house money, like Sky D said. They're a young team. And I see them making some noise next year, because this is an incredible run. But I really do think that Tampa Bay has been playing lights out. I'm still a little hurt that the way they beat up on my Hurricanes. I'm so hurt about that. But they were just a better team. They were the better team on the ice. They were hungrier, and that's not something saying against my Hurricanes, but it's just. The product is on the ice. The proof is in the pudding. And now the Lightning are once again representing their conference in the Stanley Cup. And I'm gonna say Lightning in 6.
Lightning in 6.
I say Lightning in 6. So
okay, cool.
That's my prediction when it comes to Lord Stanley's Cup.
Lightning in 6, and I'm over looking at this here Montreal Canadiens roster. They got some big boys. These boys are big. You got Josh Anderson at 6'3", 222. Joel Armia, 6'4", 210. And then you got a couple of Shea Weber. He's a big dude. Joel Edmondson. He's a 6'4", 2. That's a lot of length and a lot of bodies for the Lightning to contend with. So I think Montreal is going to play them physical. I'm looking at their regular season record. They were 4th in the North Division, and their record is 24-21. So
means nothing now, though.
No, yeah, don't mean nothing now. In the words of of somebody we all know, we here now. We are here now. And
okay, before you continue, Scotty D, take that smirk off your face, because I already know what you're thinking about.
What smirk?
And we're not even going to talk. We're not talk about college football playoffs. It's a whole different ball game. I see that smirk he's trying to put on his face. It's not going to happen. Eddie Cool, just go ahead and continue. Stop it.
All right, moving right along to the next topic.
Talking about?
Hell, he don't know. Anyways,
that was an unprovoked attack.
Yeah, boy, here we go. All right, moving right along. And speaking of how we got here, fellas, we are here. What in the hell is going on with Scottie Pippen? It has turned into Scottie Pippen versus the world. Recently, he's been on Dan Patrick, and he was talking about how Phil Jackson is a racist. Scottie D led me into a direction of a GQ interview where Scottie Pippen is just going off. Where Scottie Pippen is going off. Scottie D's not a racist. Scottie Pippen, that is going off. He's bumping heads with KD because Steve Kerr made a comparison about KD being a superior athlete than Michael Jordan, and And then he had comments on Michael Jordan playing baseball. Scotty D, what the hell is going on with Scottie Pippen?
You know, people love their superheroes. They love superheroes. And we talked about this before we came on the air. Michael Jordan is like a superhero to many people of our generation. He is one of the most well-loved athletes when it comes to our modern day, where people just, if you say anything negative about Michael Jordan, they don't want to hear it. Gambling problems with his wife, bad ownership with basketball. It doesn't matter. He's Michael Jordan. He's the best. People love him. Scottie Pippen was well-liked. People like Batman and Robin together. And now Robin is throwing zingers at Batman becoming the heel. Scottie Pippen, the more he's talking lately, it's almost feels like he's bottled this stuff up for like 25 years. And he's starting to sound like a crying, whiny old man that is just as jealous and unhappy with everything. Now, he made a couple good points. I will say some of the points he made in regards to Ben Simmons, not being a leader and that type of stuff and coming up short. And some of the things he was saying with Durant. But now he's taking swings at Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan. And it seems like a lot of this is all going back to the Tony Kukoc situation, hitting the game-winning shot in the playoffs. And I thought we went through this last year with the Bulls documentary on ESPN. And Pippen was like livid that they depicted that. But all they showed was what really happened. They showed, Scottie Pippen did this. He refused to go into the game because he was mad because they didn't draw the play for him. Phil Jackson drew it up for Tony Kukoc. And the worst thing for Pippen happened. Kukoc hit it. He won the game. He hit that game winner while Scottie Pippen sat like a baby over on the bench because he wasn't the one that got the play called for him. And he's saying that now, that he should have been the one that had the play called for him because he sat second fiddle to Michael all those years and Michael wasn't there. Well, so what? Do you know what you do? You bottle that anger up. You inbound the ball like you're supposed to. If Kukoc hits that, you pretend that you're happy, even if you're not. Even if you're still jealous, you pretend you're happy, and none of this would have ever gone down. But he was a big baby back then, and he's being a big baby now. He's going after Jordan, saying Jordan was like posing for, like saying things in the huddle for the sake of the camera and all that. I mean, oh, come on. He's on Phil Jackson saying he was like, he called that play because he was backhanded racism and he's mad at how Phil Jackson handled Kobe Bryant because he wrote a book and came back, which granted, I've always thought that was kind of odd that Phil would leave the Lakers, write a book, and then go back and him and Kobe were tight again after that. That was a little weird. But why is Pippen bringing all this stuff up now? I think that documentary last year aided him so bad he had to have an outburst. Yeah. I think so. Do you agree with that, B-Live? I think the documentary became so much about Michael Jordan that I think it just ate away at Scottie Pippen.
This is I agree with you 100%. Scottie Pippen is 100% jealous of Michael Jordan, and I have no earthly idea why. But you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this in comparison to my actual life right now here at the Sports Bros podcast.
Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah, you already know.
Here we go. Hit it.
Eddie Cool is the Michael Jordan of the Sports Bros podcast. This is his baby. And his accolades are leaps and bounds. A graduate from Ashford University, mass communication, journalism major. My man did it. He put in the work, and I'm so proud of him.
Aw, shucks.
I am the Scottie Pippen of the sports.
Scottie Pippen. Yeah, I know.
But I'm a more mature version of him because you know what? I am a Hall of Famer, 6-time champion. And you know what?
Don't you call me Luke Longley.
I was actually going to give you props. You are the Steve Kerr and John Paxson of this show. You come through in the clutch.
Tokenism.
In the clutch.
You got a jump shot, Scotty. You got a jump shot.
Well, that's bad. I thought I was going to be Wennington or Luke
No,
Longley.
no, I'm giving you love, baby.
I feel more like Rodman. I'm more the Rodman.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you are not. You are not Dennis Rodman.
No,
Bet
we're
you
not.
ain't.
We're not gonna do that.
No.
This is a sprinkle of tokenism.
Yeah. Oh,
Are you
boy.
catching the theme? Jalen Rose, cut it out. But man, no. Here's the thing. This is the reason why I make that comparison more than anything is that I want to see all of us succeed with this podcast. But I especially want to see my boy Eddie Cool, the HOC, because I've seen from day one the work that he's put in. And shoot, if he makes it, I make it. I'm gonna ride his coattail all the way to the Hall of Fame. And shoot, if I make my entire career on it, shoot. Eddie Cool, to the moon. You my dude. I'm gonna support you all the way. Scottie Pippen, cut it out. Dude, you could make a impressive career, all the memoirs, just by being the sidekick, bro. It is Batman and Robin. Nobody forgets about Robin. Just come on, man, cut it out.
Like the stories and Scottie Pippen, you had a front row seat to everything, and we've seen it through the Last Dance documentary, through the years of watching Chicago Bulls basketball on WGN, the Chicago Superstation. We've seen it for years. Scottie Pippen has been having it tough since he's retired. Them young boys and took his wife from him. She out there just doing her own thing. So Scottie Pippen is mad at everybody. He's just mad
Lost
at everybody.
a jet.
Yeah,
a jet that broke down.
Yeah, he lost a jet, but he right here trying to push some liquor because he said, you know what? I've done a lot of drinking during the pandemic. That might explain some of this. You've been doing a lot of drinking during the pandemic. You've been doing all kind of stuff. So Scottie Pippen, tranquilo, keep calm, be cool, and ride that wave, man. Ride that wave. You don't hear none of them Steelers tripping about them championships. Riding somebody coattails, none at all. I mean, you had that mess in Golden State, but it's infighting and bickering, but that's neither here nor there. But fellas, guess what is here and there?
What is here and there? What is going on?
According to this here watch, it is time for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. I see you looking at me, Scotty D. And with that being said, hey, yo, button, hit it.